It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Ah yes, the moon landing. Maybe one of humanity's greatest achievements. I mean, with the rocket technology we had back then, these international heroes basically risked their lives to, well, as Neil Armstrong said, one giant leap for mankind. But that won't stop conspiracy theorists to doubt this, because they doubt everything, no matter how much evidence you throw at them. Not to mention this Pastor Dowell has, well, basically a claim about the sun and the light coming from the sun I have never heard before. So stay tuned. We're gonna have some fun here.
All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell.
Well, it almost sounds like CC's intro, doesn't it? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here. Chris from New York, Westchester County. Gotta hand it to you, mate. The more iconic flat earthers and conspiracy theorists, they tend to have an intro, so well done? I want to say well done, but no.
And I'm going to answer a question here real quick. Pastor Dowell, what is your take on the flat earth? The flat earth, and of course, you know, a lot of people call it a theory, conspiracy theory, or whatever, you know.
Well, I hate to burst your bubble while you're flirting while driving. Why are these people always driving? I mean, okay, well, you know, I don't even care anymore. These people need to be off the road, you know. Oh boy. Anyway, it's not a theory. It's not even a hypothesis. It's just a brain fart that is easily disproven with the most basic of science. Some would say it has transformed into an internet fad. Heck, it's not even a meme. It's not worthy of being a meme.
I've learned over the years that I truly just don't trust anything that the government says.
Oh no, we've got a live one over here. So basically you're a paranoid guy who doesn't trust anything the government says. So why are you driving on a government-built road? Is it even a road? Is the road even there? I mean, it was built by the government. You don't trust the government, so there's probably not even a road. So what are you driving on?
Even if the government tells me that the sky is blue, I'll say it's light blue or purple or brown.
Well, technically the sky isn't blue, so the government saying the sky is blue, that is not technically the thing. Also, it's not brown, it's also not purple, and this is just petty. This is just really petty. The government says this, I am not gonna believe it. Also, let me just explain something here. The reason why the sky looks blue is mostly because during the day, the blue part of the light spectrum... Now, blue is a bit of a weirdo because it likes to bounce off all the particles in the atmosphere, while the others are a little less erratic. Also, have you noticed the sun basically has a kind of reddish color during sunset and sunrise? It's because that's basically the last color in the light spectrum, which is bending around the curve of the Earth. That's an unintentional rhyme, or is it?
Because there's something going on. I mean, you think about this for a second. I'm answering a question about the flat earth, but I gotta lay some groundwork.
You gotta lay some groundwork because so do your own research. What is this? A variation of do your own research?
How is it that we allegedly went to the moon well over 50 years ago? 40, 50 years ago, something like that, maybe 40 years ago.
Well, let me help you out there. So 2020, 1969, Carry the Fool. That turns out to be around, I don't know, 51 years.
How is it that we allegedly went to the moon and we ain't been back since?
Oh, hey, that smug face of yours. How lovely, isn't it? So it's actually very simple. There is no economical gain in it, because going to the moon is extremely expensive. Even though there are resources there, the economics right now, we're not up for it. You know, it's pretty expensive to go there. Not to mention, during the Apollo program, we had a much bigger budget for NASA. And that's something to do with, the arms race. You know, something about making mushrooms on the planet. Really, really big mushrooms. Really, really bright mushrooms as well. And something about, huge phallic devices we send into space. And the one with the biggest phallic device that actually went the furthest, they won. Now, I know I'm paraphrasing here.
Do you believe that? I don't believe we ever went to the moon. Just like I definitely don't believe that Christopher Columbus discovered America.
Oh, hey, look at that. You're one of those hand-waving, well, not really hand-waving, but you are a dismissive kind of guy. Also, Christopher Columbus technically didn't discover America because... All right, he discovered America, for the Western world, Western Europe in this case. But apparently there were also some Vikings who already discovered America well before Christopher Columbus even was a thing. Or had a boat.
How can you discover the place already been inhabited?
Oh. Wow, I didn't expect that. Okay, so yeah, technically, like I said, technically he didn't discover it because there were already people living there. But he did discover it for Europe, Spain to be exact. So you're a bit, yeah, what shall I call it? It's dismissive, it's petty, it's I guess a bit childish as well. So yeah, Christopher Columbus discovered America. Nuh-uh, there were people living there. Oh man, come on. Also, there were people before him who discovered it, so you know, there's that. It's really annoying, Pastor Dowell.
Now, with that said, if the sun is all these millions of miles away from us, listen to me very closely.
Oh great, you're gonna do that repetitive thing. Contrary to popular belief, I don't like to repeat myself, but go ahead.
If the sun is all these millions of miles away from us.
Ha! Called it! You carry on, I'll be right back.
And between Earth and the sun, space is black. I mean really black. It is really dark.
Right guys, brace yourself. This is... brace yourself. Hold on to your butts.
How in the hell the sun that is so dang bright, how does it skip past all that blackness, all that darkness out in outer space, but then it shines on us right here on the earth? But it skips all the space now.
Yes, you heard it. You heard it.
It just don't make sense.
Yes, exactly. What you just said doesn't make any sense. Holy hell, I can't even, but I will.
What do you think?
Give it a moment.
I mean, there's always going to be controversy concerning the subject, you know, because some people are just government people. They believe whatever they spoon feed them. They believe everything, but just in that thought in itself.
So, yes, I just wanted to give you guys the complete picture here. He still has somewhere to go, but, you know, he thinks the government tells us because the sun sends light over here, but space is black, it teleports here. I think that's what he means.
In that thought in itself, sun all these million miles away is black out there, dark as I don't know what in space. But yet it shines so bright here on this earth, it don't make sense to me.
Well then, Pastor Dowell. Let's go. So first of all, why do you think space is quote-unquote black? No, don't speak. Let me tell you why. Space looks black because it's not reflecting any light coming from the sun. You wanna know why, Pastor Dowell? Well, it's really simple, bub. We can only see light if it bounces off an object and then reaches our eyes. The darker an object, the less light bounces off it. It gets absorbed, if you will. So it looks darker. Now, if there's close to nothing to bounce off of, space is basically a perfect vacuum for all intents and purposes. You don't see space light up. Let me guess, you're one of those guys who literally thinks that if the sun is so bright, the entire sky should be lit up. How big do you think your eye is? Your eye is not as big as the solar system or the sun. I mean, seriously. And as for the sun heating up our planet, that's really simple as well. The sun heats our planet because the radiation of the sun reaches us and heats up the atmosphere. And since there is no medium, you know, like the gas in our atmosphere in space, this solar radiation is basically the reason why it can reach us. And let me tell you something about it being very far away and extremely big. If you look at the sun using a proper solar filter, you will see that it will not change its size throughout the entirety of the day. The same goes for the moon. Now, the tiny distance we rotate away on our planet so the sun or the moon goes beyond the horizon is insignificant compared to the actual distance to those objects. That is only possible if they are large and in charge and very far away. I mean, if they were local and close, they would actually shrink. Even with a solar filter for the sun, it would shrink, because that's how perspective works. The distance it's moved, it's way too small. But in the bloody reality we live, For some reason we don't see that. Huh, I wonder why. Maybe because we live on a globe with an extremely large sun and a fairly decently sized moon who are both far away and just happen to be at a similar distance, so they are kinda the same size. That's why we have solar eclipses. And not just those partial solar eclipses like on Mars with a tiny little moon it has. Am I moon shaming now? I don't care. So let's see what else you got. There's some light teleports here. It skips the blackness of space. What the hell is that even? It's creative, but oh, holy hell.
I personally believe that we have never been to the moon. I think the moon trip has been a hoax. It was a hoax then. It's still just as much of a hoax right now.
Oh goody, so you have some destructive evidence for the moon landings. I'm sure. No, I'm not. I'm actually sure you don't have it. But hey, let's not poison the well.
Because it's amazing to me, we have all these space trips and we have all these space travels, but we never seem to ever, even with all the modern day technology that we have today, that we never see anybody on the moon. Still, to this day.
Yes, that's because the rockets going into space right now are commercial rockets, which are mostly used to launch satellites for businesses. And we're launching various probes at various locations in the solar system. Not to mention we have to supply the ISS or bring astronauts to and from the ISS. The moon isn't exactly a priority right now.
And yet we got countries, including America, claiming to be the first one to the moon, when we got more technology in an Xbox today than what they had back then. And we know, if any of us use self-autonomy, that there's just no way that we've been to the moon. We ain't been to the moon.
Oh hey, that's some damning evidence right there. You're basically saying we haven't been to the moon, therefore we haven't been to the moon. Now let me tell you a little story there. It is actually very ironic, and stay with me here, because I'm gonna blow your mind. So this Xbox technology, I mean, it's a console, but hey, our current technology is way more advanced, which also means it's way more sensitive to solar radiation. You know, the solar radiation we were talking about earlier? So in a way, our newer technology is holding us back because we basically need better shielding for it, which we are developing. Not to mention, the old stuff, it's so archaic. It's also dangerous compared to what we currently have. And that's not even mentioning the plans, the expertise, and the engineers who made it are no longer around. So in a way, it is lost technology. It would be like taking an old Ford you found in a barn somewhere, which has been rusting away for quite some time now, and, you know, trying to drive it around. That is not gonna work. You need mechanics to get that thing up and running again. Now, hypothetically speaking, let's just assume those mechanics are no longer around, and that is also lost technology. You're never gonna drive your Ford. And I haven't even gotten into that our safety standards are much, much higher. And even NASA's funding is minuscule compared to the Apollo program. So, there it is.
There's no way.
Figures.
And, you know, the lies of this country is just utterly amazing to me, along with the rest of the people in this world. They just...
Yes, the lies are utterly amazing. Well, I'm not saying you're lying. You're just not telling the truth because you don't understand it.
It's hard to stomach. It really, truly is. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe we went to the moon?
No, I know we went to the moon because there's evidence for it.
I don't believe we went to the moon. I was sitting in school, and they was asking me, the teacher asked me his question about the moon, what I think about it. I said, I think we went to the desert.
Oh no, you're such a rebel.
And, of course, everybody looked at me crazy and stuff. I guess I've always been looked at crazy because I gave my opinion. Some people call it opinionated, but...
Uh-huh. You're not one of the original edgelords, are you?
I said you can't produce any facts that we went to the moon other than they gave you pictures and said that's what they said.
Okay.
Creaky time! Oh, hey, Creaky, are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do it? He's gonna do it, guys, he's gonna do it!
Probably not. CGI.
He did it! Woo! CGI.
But I don't believe we ever been to the moon. And I don't think we're going to get there either. I think it's just a mess, how much they lied to us.
Well, let's have a look at the Apollo program then, shall we? Back in the day, they had about $25.8 billion, which seems similar to its current yearly budget. However, when compensating for inflation, that's about $283 billion in current year dollars. Current year being 2020. Now that's a lot of money. But that's only the inflation adjustment. You'd also have to take it one step further and adjust for gross domestic product as well, which will end up around $641 billion. So you can imagine, with NASA's current 2020 budget of a measly $22.6 billion for all intents and purposes, it becomes quite clear NASA had a major cutback in its budget. I mean, just look at this graph, it becomes quite obvious. Who would have thunk flying to the moon is an expensive hobby?
Have you ever seen the arc of the space shuttle when it goes up anyway?
Oh no, no you don't. Don't you dare.
You ever seen how it arcs over like this and stuff? And that's telling you something. It's telling you something about a ceiling.
Wow, seriously, what the hell is wrong with you?
Here on this earth. It's just utterly amazing. I can go on and on and on, but I'm not going to. You get the picture? I like to hear what you have to say. Do you truly believe that we've ever been to the moon? If you have, and you do believe we've been to the moon, chime in and let me know.
Ooh, let me take the opportunity to explain what the hell you are wrong about. So first of all, the arc of the space shuttle, or a rocket leaving Cape Canaveral, for instance. There's a reason for that. And it's not because they're avoiding a ceiling and ditching into the ocean. It's actually, once again, really simple. They are going into orbit. Now, it takes way less energy to try and go into orbit around the planet by actually going, along the curve of the planet instead of straight up. They did the exact same thing with the Saturn V. They had to go in orbit around the planet and then accelerate and then make a figure 8 towards the moon. You want to know why it's a figure 8 and they don't just go straight for the moon? Because that would actually be a much higher angle, requiring way more energy. See, there's reasons for these things. And now let's have a look at how we can prove we've been to the moon. So Apollo 11, 14 and 15, the astronauts actually landing on the moon have left retro reflectors on the moon. Now these are not nostalgic reflectors, they can actually be used to bounce lasers off. And scientists have been doing that for research purposes. Now a retro reflector is a rather odd reflector, odd in such a way that it will reflect the laser back to the point of origin, no matter at which angle it's being shot at towards the reflector. Unlike a mirror, which reflected at the exact same angle of reflection, making a mirror rather useless, because unless you point it exactly straight at the mirror, it will always reflect in another direction, similar to the angle it's hitting the mirror at. Now, if we shoot a laser at a spot on the moon with no registered man-made objects, the detector will not register any reflected laser light, mostly because the moon has a similar albedo of tarmac, which is the reflectiveness of the material, for lack of a better word. So yes, using those things the astronauts actually left behind, we can test if we actually have been there. There is no other way those lasers make it back to Earth and your detector. And on that note, I sentence you to become a jester in the order of the Sillies there, Pastor Dowell. I do hope you enjoy your stay. And as usual, remember to tickle the bell, no buttons around it, and I will see you on the moon. Or maybe we need to build a better spaceship first. Bye-bye. Makes you wonder what this do-your-own-research actually is, because they don't do it. They just say it. you.